G'day everyone, Rob Booth here from Piglet Music, here to add my contribution to the topic of jazz improvisation. Now the method we're going to use today can be and is used by jazz players of all levels, but the material we're going to be looking at is focused at the very beginning jazz student. Now ideally you probably should have a few scales and some chords under your belt, but if it's not a strong point of yours, don't worry too much because this will actually help strengthen that. Now I'm going to talk for a few minutes and we're then definitely going to do some playing, so make sure you've got a horn at the standby. Now the approach that we're going to be looking at today, I've put into a book called Jazz Improvisation, The Fundamentals. There it is. I've written it for B-flat instruments, B-flat treble, that is, C treble, C bass clef and also E-flat treble. So pretty much something for everyone. It also comes with a ton of backing tracks, about 20 backing tracks played by live professional musicians, so you'll be playing the whole way through the book, and they're also compatible with each other. So if you've got a trumpet and a E-flat saxophone student together, you can both learn at the same time with the same tracks. Now I wrote the book in response to a few school teacher friends of mine who said there was a lack of resources for their beginning students. It also came after my own university teaching and examining, where it was obvious a lot of the students hadn't had the basics when they were learning. It also came about from some adult musician friends of mine who sort of saying, oh, I can't play jazz at this point in my life. Well, particularly if you're in that last category, you're well suited because adults do have a lot more patience than kids, and jazz learning definitely requires some patience. Now you've probably seen and heard of a lot of different methods around. People will say, take a melody and just embellish it a bit. Nothing wrong with that. Definitely do learn melodies. They're a great way to improve the ear. You've got your etude books, great for your playing. You've got books on scales, jazz scales and all sorts of things. All good, but at the end of them you come out still wondering, but how do I actually improvise? So what I've done is I've cut straight to the chase. We're going to be taking some little jazz licks, and today pretty much focusing around the third of the chord, which is where the colour is, and in conjunction with the flat third, they make a pretty good jazzy sort of sound. In the book we'll move forward and get onto some dominant seventh chords as well, where using the seventh you get that bebop sound, and we can get onto a few little bebop licks. But that's in the book. But for now we'll basically do a couple of things around the third of the chord, and let's do some playing. So I've got here a 12-bar solo over a blues progression that I've written out for our purposes. I'll give you a look and a listen to it before we go any further. Note that I've included a B-flat and a C version. Now I think that most people agree that jazz improvisation includes building up a repertoire of licks. Over time and practice, these become part of the player's sound. Listen to any great player long enough and you'll find that a lot of the same licks keep popping up. They just make it sound so natural that you don't notice. So I could give you a cool Freddie Hubbard lick to learn, but that'd be like being given an Italian phrase to learn when you don't actually know the meaning of the words. So we'll effectively be learning some words, and as you develop, you'll be ready to deal with more complex phrases. So here's the solo again, and we'll take bars 2, 9 and 11 and do a bit of work from them. Have another listen. So let's take bar 2, and note that I'll be talking in B-flat pitch, but I've included concert pitch notation on the examples. So we're on a C7 chord, where E is the third. So we're playing flat 3 to 3, flat 3 to 3, then the tonic, which is C, and finishing on the fifth, which is G. Here it is, I'll play it for you. So just take a moment now and play that one yourself a few times. So there's a basic little lick over a C7, but those notes won't work over other chords. You'll have to transpose them. So we'll stick to a couple of comfortable chords and learn it over them. At first you'll be mentally transposing, but as your ear develops, this will happen a lot more naturally. So the third of the F chord is A, with the flat third being A flat. So in this case we're playing A flat to A flat to A, and then the tonic, which is F, and finishing on the fifth, which is C. Here it is, I'll play it for you. So just pause the clip again and play it a few times yourself. Now do the same over the G chord, where B is the third. Pause the clip here while you work it out, and then I'll play it so you can check. Okay, here it is, I'll play it for you. So now play the lick over those three chords a few times until they're comfortable, and then we'll try it with a backing track. So just pause here while you give it a go. Okay, here's the track. What you'll do is play the lick twice over each chord. So basically you'll be playing it once, have a bar's rest, then again, another bar's rest, and then on to the next chord. I'll play along on this first one just to help you get started. So here we go. Well, hopefully your brain's hurting a little bit after that, and that's good. It means it's getting a workout. Now let's look at the lick at bar 9. This lick starts on the fourth of the chord. On a major type chord, this can be a real clashy note to play, but used correctly it sounds quite cool. It has a bit of a soul kind of sound to it, and it usually resolves to the third. Here's a line using this kind of lick that I'll play for you. So let's get back to our three chords of C, F and G, and we'll play the lick from the solo over those chords. So on the C chord it starts on the fourth, resolves to the third, and then the tonic. And again, fourth, third, tonic. Here it is, I'll play it for you. Now you try it a few times. Now on the F chord, starting on the fourth, which is B flat, to the third, which is A, and the tonic, which is F. And then the same on the G chord, so from a C to B to G, etc. So again, try them by yourself a few times until you're comfortable with them, and then I'll play the backing track again. Okay, here's the backing track. Finally, we're going to look at the lick at bar 11. This is an absolutely classic lick. You're going to get a lot of use out of this one. Here's a few variations on it. We'll see if you can recognise the sound of it. So take a look at it. The first 7 notes are all chromatic. Starting on the flat third once again, make your way up to the fifth and then down. I could have gone nice and easily straight to the third after the F, but I used that little flat 3 to 3 inflection that I've circled. I'll let you do the work this time, so start on the flat third of the F chord and see how you go, and then the G chord. Once you've got them down, let's move on and try them with a track. So again, just pause the clip for a moment and have a practice of them. Okay then, here's the track. Good luck. How'd you go with that one? That's a great lick to learn. Now these not only need to be learnt, but really embedded so they can come out naturally when you're soloing. This means repeat them over and over so that you can play them without having to think about them too much. If you did find these fairly comfortable, then there's supplement pages in my book to challenge yourself over some more chords, and of course a lot more licks to learn. Well, that's all we've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I hope you've taken something out of today's session. If you have got something out of it, then you're going to get a whole lot out of my book, Jazz Improvisation, The Fundamentals. It's got 8 units full of all sorts of studies like we've done today, taking you through to some bebop sounds. It's got some extension studies at the end for a bit more of a challenge. It's got a few different exercises of different nature, and 20 tracks of good backing with live musicians. So good value, $11. I'm only asking $11 because I really want everyone to grab one of these, because I really feel like it's going to give you a good start with your jazz. It's available at pigletmusic.com. While you're at the site, have a look around. There's a few little free things there for you. You can grab a jazz trio. If you're a big band leader, there's some sight reading exercises. So drop by the site. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, Robert Booth, you can find my profile on the site while you're there. Now you probably want to know a bit about my playing too. I'll trail off with a couple of tracks of mine. The first one's a tune called The Persecuted that I wrote, and the next one's a flugelhorn solo I did over Bob Mintz's Cute. So you can have a listen to that as we trail off, and until next time, see you later.